Hi, I'm Ty Comer, editor of Billboard.com. Thank you for joining us for another live stream chat. And today we are super, super excited to be able to bring you the one, the only, the man with the platinum pipes, Mr. Josh Groban.
Nice to see you. Thank
you for joining us. So for the next 20 minutes or so, Josh will be here answering your questions live. If you haven't submitted a question yet, you still have a chance to, and here's how. Tweet us at Billboard.com using hashtag BBLiveChat. I will take those questions using the Motoblur service, and then I'll put Josh on the spot. So tweet us away, and you might just get your questions answered live. Josh, I have to say that you have some of the most loyal and dedicated and colorful fans that we've seen yet.
Very true.
Yeah, we've gotten hundreds of responses over the past couple of days,
Great.
so people are really excited to have you back.
Well, I'm excited to do this. You know, I'm a little rusty, you know, because it's been a little while. I've been working on this record, and you know, the idea of kind of sitting here live and answering questions from the fans is really exciting to me because, you know, you get into a mode where you feel kind of like a hermit in the studio, and you're, you know, in the lab and trying to make things perfect, and you know, to be out and to be, you know, just a few months away from getting this thing out, and to be able to answer these questions is a lot of fun for me. So I'm excited to see what people have in store.
Great. Well, in addition to an alarming number of marriage proposals, and we'll get to those afterwards.
Alarming number.
Alarming number.
I can only marry 20 of you.
People really, really want to know about the new record. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and, you know, what you've been doing in the studio?
Well, I mean, as the fans know, it's been a very different process for me this time around. I mean, you know, working with the legendary Rick Rubin has been both an honor and a great learning experience. I think no matter who you're working with, if it's somebody that you're collaborating with for the first time, there's a certain amount of time I think that it takes to get to know each other and to figure out what your sweet spot is and what your formula is. Rick is one of those guys that loves to record organically, loves to blueprint things so that when you do get into the studio with everybody at the same time, it happens very, very quickly and happens very naturally. To do that, of course, it takes a lot of setup. So the setup has been a huge part of this process. The other thing is that he really demands of each writer, of each person that he works with, that they write a lot. So I've had to wear the writer's hat a lot more than I have been used to in the past, whether it be classical music or pop music. A lot of it has started with you know, me doing a piano demo. So to take it from that spot to a place that is, you know, much more colorful is, you know, takes its time. So, you know, like I said, I think we're just about done now. We're I think one more orchestra session away, with 2 more songs to finish. But man, it's had its frustrations, it's had its, you know, impatient moments, but I think that there's a method to the madness, and that I think that in the end, when that creative explosion happens, it's all worth it.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you and Rick got together, because he's famous for producing people like the Beastie Boys and Metallica and Linkin Park, so I think that the idea of the two of you working together is really sort of interesting and unexpected.
I emailed his fan site saying I want to be a heavy metal star, and and he just wrote back immediately saying, let's make a record. It is that simple. No, I'm just kidding. I met Rick through a mutual friend in Guy Osiri, who's a big power player in this business, and a good big supporter and good friend. And Rick was kind of one of the only people that I hadn't met in the industry. In the last 10 years, I feel like I've been privileged enough to have really met and worked with so many people, but Rick is somebody that I had not met. And Guy said, you know, would you be open to having a meeting with him? So, you know, hooked up with him at his place, and we just kind of sat and talked for a long time about the music business and about music. And, you know, Rick is just such a, you know, a wonderful person just to talk to about the state of things and the state of creativity and about songs. It's just an encyclopedia for all things music. And so we just had a blast. And it kind of ended with him saying, you know, well, I don't know what we do together, but I enjoyed talking to you, and you know, play me some songs when you have some. And so I did, and that kind of naturally progressed into let's make this record together. So it again, everything from the first meeting to the end product, I think, has happened very, very naturally.
Now, does the music sound a lot different than what we've heard from you in the past?
I think sonically, it's the nature of the beast when you work with a different producer. It's always going to have a certain sensibility that's different from other producers you've worked with. But at the same time, you mentioned some of the bands that Rick has worked with. I think the great thing about Rick is that he intrinsically finds that natural, honest spot in any artist that he's working with, and I think that his ability to do that is genreless. And so, to that extent, as far as what the fans are used to, I think it's going to be the best that they've ever heard for me. It's all about the singing. It's all about the quality of the song, and it's all about the simplicity that is involved in making sure that the essence of those things, comes to the top and is not muddled by stuff. He's not a big reverb fan. He's not a big fan of big crashing drums. He wants the song and the singing to speak for itself. And I would assume and I would hope that that's what the fans want too.
Right. Now, Rick is famous for sort of breaking down the way an artist works and rebuilding them up so they have a different way of working and he gets different things out of them. What part of your process changed the most since you've been working with Rick in the studio?
I think I've just had to learn to be more patient. I think that with technology now, I think it's very easy to have immediate gratification as an artist. I think there's I certainly know a lot of friends in the industry who, will say, hey, I came up with a new song and I'm going to go in today and we'll see how it works. And, at the end of the day, they'll write me back saying, hey, we've just written it, we've just sent it to Top 40 and they're already playing it. It's like, that was fast, it's very immediate, and I think that has a lot to do with the technology and has a lot to do with the role of a producer nowadays. I think can oftentimes kind of blur with what is an artist and what is a producer, and it happens very quickly. I think the thing that I've had to learn with Rick is that he wants you to be the artist, period. He wants you to do the work of an artist, and that means taking ownership of it. It means, in his case, a lot of times writing it for me, figuring out a lot of things, including, what you want your arrangement to sound like, and so that collaboration as an artist and a producer is very much that. He lets it be a collaboration. He's not telling you sing and go home. He very much wants you to be as proud of this record as you should be, and so that means a lot of work, and it just means learning to be patient and learning to kind of wear many different hats. I think, but I think those hats are all necessary to be a real artist, and I think that's one of the things he really tries to push people to do.
Now, you said you have one orchestra session left, and then you'll mix the record. And when can we expect to be hearing it?
Well, I mean, now that the blueprinting is done and most of the recording is done, my hope, and I think certainly the fans that are watching now have heard me hope before, so I would be kind of cautious as to when to say things would be out, because they've definitely seen me break a couple promises this last year. But that said, we're on a roll now, and I think that it shouldn't be too much longer to finish 2 songs, and maybe we've got a choir piece that we have to do as well. But depending on studio scheduling, it's also hard to book 60 people at a time. So whenever we can get the room that we want and get the engineer that we want and get everything that we want, then it's 2 hours of work and it's done. But it's just getting everything to that point. I'd like to be mixed, in no more than 2 or 3 months, and I'd like to be out in the fall.
Okay, great. And I know that there's tons of people that are chomping at the bit to hear it. So yeah, we'll definitely be looking for it.
Well, definitely music is next. Usually the music happens first, then the interview. But we'll do a little interview, and it's on its way.
Right. And do you have a name for it, or any ideas for names?
Not yet. Do have some ideas, but
do you want to take some submissions? I'm sure that people have some ideas.
Tweet your ideas for album names, please. Yeah.
So in addition to that, I know that you also announced that you're going to be in the Glee finale for this season.
That's right, yeah. Well, I mean, there's been some really, really fun extracurricular activities this last year, and one of the things that I've really had a lot of fun doing is a little bit of acting, and to be working with Ryan Murphy and this incredible cast of Glee, and having come from a kind of an art school background, it's nice to see a show that's getting so much popular recognition, that's so much about kind of that side of music, because I know so many kids from camp and school and stuff that were in the Glee Club and did theater and did all that stuff, and it's true to kind of make light of it and make popular that that is going on. There's a lot of kids that are like that, and I was one of them. And then to come back on the finale and be a celebrity judge was a blast.
Right.
Anytime you get to work with Jane Lynch, it's like awesome.
Now, this is the second time that you've been on the show, so you're again playing Josh Groban.
I am very much playing Josh Groban. It's very, very different than Josh Groban.
Right.
It's Josh Groban. And so, yeah, no, I'm definitely playing a character on the show. He just happens to be named Josh Groban.
Right.
Yeah, which is fun. Which might cause some confusion on the street, just because, I think that one of the funny things is that, when I first talked to Ryan Murphy, was, okay, if you want me to play myself, let me play like a really exaggerated, off-the-wall, slightly douchey version of myself. and so it's it is that. And I think the first time I served a restraining order to one of the teachers,
Right.
and this time we are really responsible for figuring out the regional champion. So stay tuned.
Great. We'll look for it. And okay, so let's get to some of the tweets because, as I said, we've gotten many questions here, so I want to try to get through as many as we can. This one comes from Ernestine B., who says, when did you realize you could carry a tune better than most people?
Well, I still don't know if I can do it better than most people, but...
you can do it better than me. I can
okay,
pretty much tell you.
When did I figure I could carry a tune? Well, I figured out that I could play by ear fairly early on. My parents had a piano in the house, which I will forever be thankful for because that wound up being my magnet for everything that I was feeling. And so, we would go to a concert, we would go to a show. My parents were really great at making sure we went out to all the cultural events in Los Angeles. And for whatever reason, I just kind of would come home. I was 8, 9, and I would come home and I would sit down and I would play the melodies from a show that we just saw that night. And I think they were a little surprised by that. And to me, it was just one of those things where I couldn't remember math facts for the life of me. I was, terrible at, telling you where a place was on the map at that age. But I could sing you a melody that I heard 10 hours ago, no problem.
Right.
And I think that I just kind of started to realize very young that was something that I had a knack for.
So you were pretty much a child prodigy is what you're saying.
I don't know about that. I mean, I wasn't. They definitely weren't show parents. I mean, they weren't saying, okay, well, this kid has a gift. Let's put him in a tuxedo and push him out there. They were just kind of, they kept their eye on it, and I know I had a lot of fun with it, and I think that was the most important thing. That it was just something that was a fun thing for me to do, and it stayed fun. It's still fun, but it was never pressure. It was just fun.
Great. This question comes from Tati Doko, who says, what place do you feel most inspired to write and create music?
Are these their Twitter names or their real names?
These are their Twitter names.
Oh, cool. All right. I was like, Tati Doko. Very cool name.
Some of them seem sort of real, but Tati Doko, you never know.
The place that I feel most inspired to write, I think it's always great to kind of get out of your safety bubble. And so for me to get out of Los Angeles, I love Los Angeles, but because it's my hometown, because it's where I grew up, born and raised, it's always fun for me to travel, whether I'm working with my friend in France or whether I'm going with the great Dan Wilson in Minneapolis. I always say, I'll get the ticket, I'll come to you, because there's something about getting out of your comfort zone. I think getting out of your space, getting out of a place where you have any instinct to procrastinate is good. So, it really doesn't matter where you are as long as you feel like you're in a workspace and you're in a place where you're there to work, because I am a daydreaming, procrastinating machine if put in the wrong environment. So so I need to put myself in a place where I can.
Great. This one comes from Charlotte 316, definitely a Twitter name.
Cool name.
Take
me to your leader.
What was the last song you listened to before coming in here today? And your own song doesn't count.
Oh man. Well, before coming in here today, I guess whatever was playing in the cab. What was it? I think it was Black Holes and Revelations by Muse. I think was playing. Wasn't it, Gail? Yeah, I think it was. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good tune.
It was a good tune. Yeah, Muse is always. Well, you hear them everywhere now because they're just enormous, and they're always great for pumping you up before a big event, and nothing could be bigger than this. So,
what music do you listen to in your spare time? I know that people probably have a perception that you're always listening to Pavarotti or Celine Dion.
No,
but
that's correct.
Yeah,
just Pavarotti and Celine Dion
on constant repeat all the time.
Yeah, my whole I've actually used up 6 gigs of space on Pavarotti. Pretty much 10 or 12, 15 tracks that he's of the same song, just as long as it's him and her.
It gets better every time.
Yeah, they did a song together at one point, and I just listened to that one sometimes for days on end, because it's literally the greatest that you can listen to is their duet. So, no, there is a little bit of Pavarotti and a tiny bit of Celine Dion on my iPod, but I like listening to music that I feel is I'm not really. I like pretty much every genre as long as I feel it's done well and it's done, with an experimental energy, and as long as I feel that people have really kind of decided to kind of I love when people kind of reinvent how people feel about genre. I feel like I've been put in a place where it's pretty much the fans have allowed me to be a genre of one, and I think that it's always nice when you see people really striving to just be the best of who they are, because I think artists are all these individual points of light, and I think that oftentimes there can be a lot of pressure to kind of ignore that personal light and just go with whatever the bigger club is.
Sure.
And so, I like listening to people that I feel really have taken the risk to be who they are.
Okay, great. Here we have a question from Cheryl Groban. A relation?
Probably not.
Okay, well, Cheryl seems to at least know your dog pretty well. She says, do you know there's a fan club on Facebook for Sweeney, your adorable little dog?
I didn't know that, but I'm going to have to go check that out. We
actually got quite a few questions about Sweeney, who seems to be just about as popular as you are.
He's definitely, if not more so. He's definitely a lady killer, and he's a cool little guy.
What kind of dog is he?
He's a Wheaton Terrier, and he's been on the road with me, so he knows. He probably met most of the fans on the road, if you know what I mean. and so he's a party animal. I think he definitely kind of mooches off of my success, I think, and uses that as an excuse to burn the candle at both ends. And so he's living the high life while I'm doing the scales. He's out living it up. Right. So
where's Sweeney right now?
Sweeney right now is recovering from a week-long bender that he's had. No, I'm just kidding. He's at my parents' house, partying in the backyard.
Awesome. Here we have a question from Ellen Trueblue. Please name a place that you really, really want to visit right now, and why?
Ellen Trueblue's house. I'm just kidding.
Ellen Trueblue just fainted, by the way.
Where do I want to visit right now, and why? Well, I mean, I'm very excited about going back on the road. There's a lot of countries that I feel are very special to me, and I can't wait to. I really can't wait to travel again. I personally really can't wait to get back to South Africa. I think that for the fans there, there's a lot of shows that I have to make up to them over there. We had a situation on my last tour where we weren't able to for reasons that were not our fault, weren't able to get over there. And it's a country that means a lot to me, and the fans there mean a great deal to me. And some of the experiences I've had there have really changed my life. So I'm really chomping at the bit to get over and do some amazing shows over there.
Awesome. Here's a question from MAF11. Do you study acting with an acting coach in your spare time?
It depends. I would say when I'm in music zone, not really. I mean, I did go to theater school.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have had acting training.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I had years of acting training before I started recording. I guess I could say yes, because if I have an audition or something that I'm working on, I'll take that as an excuse to go and take some acting classes and to work with an acting coach. And I've worked with some amazing people, and you learn something a little bit different from each one. But and I like to read a lot about acting. I think that for me, theater and acting is a huge part of what I love to do, and it's all storytelling, and so but recently for playing myself, I had no problem, and I just finished a new movie, a Steve Carell movie that I'm really excited about, and it was a very comedic role. So I think that some of the, for me, the comedic thing, at least on camera, comes a little bit more naturally. Right. So didn't need to do much preparing for that.
Right, and that you actually get to play a character, like you're not Josh Groban.
No. I was Richard the lawyer, and so I just basically had to. My dad's in business, so I just kind of I really took heavily from watching him go to work every day, to kind of get that character going.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that the first time since Ally McBeal that you've really gotten to play somebody other than a version of yourself?
Yes, actually, yeah. And I was really grateful to have the opportunity to be in a movie that big and to not have to be myself. Auditioned, nailed it, and and found myself on set as a working actor playing a character. So. That was a thrill for me, because I think as a musician, there's a lot of kind of very thin lines about how people view you and how people view you as a hired gun for something other than what you're known for. Right. And so there was no two ways about it. We did it the right way. There was no favors. It was just a lot of fun work, and it was a great cast.
Do you have any idea when that's coming out?
That I definitely do not know. Yeah, that is in a lot of other people's hands, and I've got more work to do on my own front.
Okay. Well, we'll be looking for it regardless. Okay, Tony Kiss wants to know, you've worked with many talented artists. Is there anyone left on your list that you want to work with?
Wow. I definitely have worked with some a lot of pinch me situations, where I'm standing next to somebody like Placido Domingo or Charles Aznavour, and you're recording it old school, 2 mics, and you're just going, oh my God, is this really happening right now? I think that anytime you get to work with somebody that is, in a different wheelhouse than what you do, and you kind of decide, going into it, we're going to do something different, and there's a little bit of a scary getting to know you period is good. I would love to work with some amazing instrumentalists. I would love to work with someone like Yo-Yo Ma or Jeff Beck or someone like that, and kind of explore. I always like exploring crossing of genres, and so let's say Jeff Beck, just because he's the man.
Awesome. So Jeff Beck, if you're watching, hook it up.
You do have no idea who I am, but you know what? Call me.
Okay, so here's a question in a similar vein. This is from Lunabar. Was it as weird for you to perform the Star Spangled Banner with Flea as it was for us to watch it?
That was definitely one of my proudest WTF moments. And when
did that happen? Like, put it in context for us.
Well, I mean, it happened because they asked me to sing the national anthem. I thought to myself, okay, well, I've done that, and I've definitely done it with the kind of the big, like 5 key changes, produced thing. And I thought, it's a college game. Why not do something a little bit different with it, And so, we kind of, I had kind of a New Orleans kind of arrangement done. Like I wanted to do something with horns, and I actually talked it over a lot with Flea. He had a lot to do with the decision to kind of make it kind of a 12-person horn section. And some people kind of thought it was mariachi sounding, which it's really figure out your own arrangement to it. I mean, it's really just kind of however you heard it. That's exactly how we wanted it to be, and I'm glad you noticed. And so Flea's a really good friend. He's a really cool guy. You want to talk about somebody who has no fear to go off and try new things and try different things. And I think it's what makes him such a brilliant artist. And not to mention the fact that he's just got zero ego. He just wants to do things that satisfy him musically, and I respect the hell out of him. And we did a thing together where we raised a lot of money for his school, which is the Silver Lake Music Conservatory in Los Angeles. And I sang Ave Maria with him in his backyard for an event. So we basically just did a bass and vocal. And he was playing Bach on his bass. And then I asked him, I said, I'm going to do the national anthem. We're going to have this horn section. Do you want to accompany me on bass for the national anthem? He's like, hell yes. So,
so you actually put that together.
Well, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, it's, I think that, sometimes people, you do things because it's fun. You do things because it's musically exciting.
Right.
Sometimes people view it as weird because they want everything in a neat little box. But we had a blast, and we enjoyed the game.
Awesome. Okay, here is a question from Justin Wexler. Who do you think will win this year's season of American Idol?
Wow.
It's a big one.
I cannot pull that question out of my air because I haven't seen a single episode this year. But Justin,
you've been kind of busy.
Who do you think will win? And tweet your answer.
And tweet your answer to
now.
us. Well, let me ask this question because Usher recently was quoted as saying that he thinks that talent shows might be doing the industry a little bit of a disservice because it seems really easy and it seems like people can sort of break in the business and get fame overnight. Do you agree with that, or do you think it's a good thing that talent shows become so popular, or what's your opinion on?
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's detrimental. I just haven't seen this season. I think that I definitely have watched in the past and probably would have watched TV at all this year if I weren't so busy. But
right.
But I think that I feel two ways about the American Idol thing and about the kind of TV contest thing. I think that I've got nothing against everybody having a shot, and I've got nothing against allowing kids that would normally be feeling how would I possibly show my talent to the world an opportunity to audition and to show that talent. I think that there's a good side to it. At the same time, a lot of times they get what they ask for, which is that they're on a talent competition. They know that the competition is based on, entertaining people from week to week. And once that competition is done and the entertainment of the show is done, I think it's up to each winner or loser of the show to keep people excited by what you do. And I think that there have been some examples, obviously, of contestants who have gone on to be great artists, and some that were really only as good as the show made them.
Right.
But in the end, I think, it's entertainment, and I think that once the entertainment of the show is over, whoever is on it, it's their responsibility to then be an artist.
Right. Good answer. Okay, now we have one from... Okay, here's from Jolly Holly 562. What was... Again, obviously,
Can't
it's her
wait.
name. What was your favorite childhood movie? You know, the one that you will still watch all the way through today.
My favorite childhood movie, Das Boot. No, I'm just kidding. I loved boats. No. Probably a very. You know what? I definitely have an answer for this question, and it's one that I don't think a lot of people have seen. But I love Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
My parents really we saw Monty Python growing up. We saw a lot of crazy funny things growing up, and one of my favorite childhood movies was one of his lesser known films called The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Oh yeah.
And it which also a German name, I think, but it really just kind of blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is a wild and fantastic journey, and a lot of amazing actors are in it, and I definitely, it's that and The Dark Crystal. Pretty much, I think anybody from a kid of the 80s who saw The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth and those kind of movies definitely grew up to be a certain type of person.
Yeah.
I think that really kind of it stays with you. But Baron Munchausen. There you go. Yeah, that's the one. And A Christmas Story, of course.
Awesome. Okay, so Ninamar wants to know, surpassing the physical beauty of women, what qualities do you look for in a potential love interest?
Nothing surpasses physical beauty. Just kidding. Everything. Nothing. Honestly, I mean, very good question. I think that for me, if somebody doesn't have a sense of humor, if I can't joke with somebody or talk to somebody about history, politics, the world, I have a really short attention span for lots of things. But that also, I think that for me, the physical beauty is in an immediate. There's the immediate attraction. But then if it doesn't go any further than that, there's got to be something else. And
right.
I think that for me, the biggest turn on in somebody is a great sense of humor. If we can laugh, I think there's nothing better than that.
Right. So you realize now that on your fan site, you're going to be bombarded with women who are giving you their favorite one-line joke. So.
That's great. Well, we can develop a pilot for a sitcom together.
Perfect. Here's one from Sherry Holland. Josh, are you really moving to New York? We've gotten a lot of these questions, so it seems to is it true? Are you relocating to the East Coast, or what's happening?
I think I'll never fully leave Los Angeles just because that's where my family is, and I love LA. But I also, I've always felt a real draw to the East Coast, and I've always felt a particular draw to New York City, and so I think for a number of reasons, I've got a lot of friends here. I love the energy of New York. I love the culture. I love the theater, and also I love where it is geographically, just as far as just all the traveling I have to do internationally. I think that it's safe to say that after the summer, I'll be half-time here. At least that's my hope. So yeah.
Great. Okay, now it gets fun. Josie Brooks wants to know. Josie Brooks wants to know. Tell us about the last time you were at Oprah's house.
Yeah. The last time I was at Oprah's house. Oh man, I can't even count how many times. That's just. I think that people assume that if you've been on the show, you've obviously hung out for tea. Mm-hmm. I have not been to Oprah's house.
No. After all you've done for her.
I've been to... Wow. No, I would actually venture to say that what she has done for me in my career is quite possibly unmatched. And she's had me on 6 times now.
Yeah.
And so, I definitely feel like visiting her studio is like that's the house of O. So I mean, you enter Harpo Studios, and it's a holy place there. You definitely feel like you're in her realm, and so I feel lucky enough to even be able to go to Harpo in Chicago every now and then and sing for them. But no, I did get a call from her home back when I sang one of the Christmas songs on her show. It was one of the coolest things ever. I got a call in my hotel room from her. Mm-hmm. She was wrapping presents and just wanted to know how things were going, and so I mean, it was very, very nice of her.
Yeah, that's sweet.
But have not been to the homes.
I'm sure it's homes.
Have not been to the home
or castles at this point.
Okay.
So yeah. And Oprah, have the man over for tea. Come on.
Please.
Make it happen. Okay, this is the best question that I've ever gotten to ask anybody, and I'm honored to ask it to you. Amy Salvaggio wants to know, do you think you would survive a zombie apocalypse?
Oh, man.
Do you think you would survive a zombie apocalypse?
My not funny answer is no. You kidding me? However...
always a however.
I have seen some of those movies, and I think that there's something that we can learn from those movies. And I think that I've got my serious
You're
answer.
good.
My
You're
serious
good.
answer, Mike, hold now. I believe that that if we take notes from these zombie movies, we can help each other, and we can learn together how to stop these vicious beasts and how to survive for the sake of our race, for our humanity. And they can be stopped. I know it seems like they can't, but if we just band together and we just do what they tell us to do from the movies, we can do it in real life. We can. So just do it.
And go for the head.
And go for the head.
Going
exactly.
for the head is key.
From the movie, they tell you to do that. Go for the head. Also, I just did this Steve Carell movie with Emma Stone, star of Zombieland, and I think just the very fact that I got to kiss her on screen means that I'm somehow immune.
Yeah, that helps for sure.
Yes.
Definitely. Okay, so moving on from zombies, Dutch Raspberry wants to know. Dutch Raspberry is very excited to hear about the relaunch of the Josh Groban Foundation and wants to know more about it.
Oh, yes. I really want to tell you more about it, too, because I'm very, very excited about the foundation. It's a huge part of my life, and I know it's been a huge connective element for me and the fans, and something we both really are passionate about. So can't dive into it any further at the moment because we're just getting a lot of things reworked, but I think that what I can say is that we are going to be, I think, focusing a very broad ideal that we've had for the foundation. We're going to be focusing it to a much, I think, more detailed and in doing so, I think, much stronger point of view. So, but all to come in the coming months.
Okay, great. Dryer Balls, I'm not making this up at all.
69. Yeah.
Dryer Balls wants to know, how many languages can we expect to hear on your new album?
Good question, Dryer Balls. I think that, it could be two or three. Two or three. Haven't decided, but depending on what songs ultimately make the cut. Four, including English.
Right.
But English isn't a language.
That doesn't really count. No. Okay, well, but you've sung in Italian, you've sung in French and Spanish. Can we assume that you're fluent in all these languages, or do you learn just enough to get you through the song?
When you do classical vocal training, you really spend a lot of time thinking about those languages and working on those languages. When I was young, I learned Japanese, which has not so far helped me in my song selections. But during my kind of sponge years is when I started to decide that I would really like to learn Japanese. So as I continue on this process of working on other languages and singing songs in other languages, obviously I very much enjoy the process of doing the homework about those languages and learning them backwards and forwards before I even step foot and decide on the song. But as far as fluently, I think that's something I have to really work on with more traveling than I do. I think when I'm immersed in a country, it definitely helps But then when I spend some time away from it, it's one of those things where you have to keep flexing that muscle. So,
Right.
but I'm young. I think that there's definitely time to become fluent in every language. I don't feel fluent in English yet, so I'm still working on that.
Great. Thank you, Dryer Balls, for that question.
Thank you so much.
Here is one from Snowmart. Josh, you knew you could sing, but when did you understand or believe that you were also a very sexy man?
Snowmart. It really wasn't until People Magazine said I was. I think that it's really not until you get that validation on the glossy page that you have any self-confidence for yourself. No, I think that for me, I'm way too close to it. I think that, I've always been attracted to creative people. I think that a lot of times people who really express themselves creatively and have that kind of a, I like people with musical ability and artistic ability. So, I don't know. I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder. I guess to me, I don't think I'll ever stop seeing the weird kid from elementary school. But that's a problem, and I'm working on it.
Right. So what do you think your chances are to make People's 2010 list?
Well, I was on
like you and Clooney, like where do you see yourself falling?
Me and Depp are always duking it out. I think that my chances this year are I don't know. I've bought a couple of jackpot lottery tickets in the last couple months, and I'm kind of, I guess, more hoping that I win those.
The lottery.
But I'd say the chances are probably the same for both.
Gotcha. Okay. Here is one from, we have time for a few more questions. Now, here's one from Messy J. Despite your versatility as an artist, do you feel stereotyped as a certain type of performer?
I think depends on who's writing about me, I suppose. I think that there are certain journalists that you feel really get it, and certainly I would say that to the fans, without a shadow of a doubt, across the board get it. I think the fans understand every aspect of who you are, and that's why it will always be about my music and the fans' connection to that, and we're doing this together. But as far as from a journalistic standpoint, from an outside observation standpoint, I think it depends. I think sometimes you read something and you say to yourself, there has been 8 years that's happened after that, and a lot of times people are stuck on a specific thing, or stuck on a specific song, or stuck on just how they decide to view you, and really you could bat them over the head and that's not going to change. But I think that it has developed over the last few years, and I think that it's all about, I think for any artist, it's not just me and it's not just my genre, you're always, I think to a certain extent, educating by example, and I think that that's the only way to do it. You can't talk about it, you just got to do it. And I think that as the albums have gone on and as we've continued to kind of explore and try new things, people get it more and more. Those that haven't gotten it, I think, decide that they get it more and more. So, but it's, I would, not to blab about it, but I think that it's, I think what I'm doing is kind of unique genre-wise. I don't think there's really a lot else out there that's exactly the same thing, and so I think that also sometimes people have a hard time knowing where to put it, and I think oftentimes the first instinct when you don't know where to put something is to think of it negatively. And so I think that's just something that my fans, like I said, get it, and we just have to keep working on it, and slowly but surely I think those that don't turn their heads.
Right. Great. Okay, so here's one from Maybe Molly, who says, "Howdy, Josh. Now that you've been on Twitter for almost a year, what is your first year assessment of it?"
Well,
you tweet quite a bit. I've been following you for a while now,
I kind of went from the guy who's like, do I really have to do that, to I can't have time for that. I got to tweet. So I really enjoy it. I think it's really fun. I think that, strangely enough, I had my views about Twitter before I did Twitter, and I think in trying it and realizing that in 142 characters, 40, 42, forget which one, one of those.
It's 140, I think.
140.
They might give you a couple extra just for being
yeah, they give me the extra 2 letters. it's actually a really great way to kind of, strangely enough, I found it to be a very interesting societal experiment of kind of allowing free thought without thinking too much to accumulate and to kind of, and I think it's really cool that the government is archiving everything, because I think it's you know, when you're writing lyrics and when you're working on creative ideas, I know a lot of people who work on books and lyrics and things like that, you just write. I mean, a lot of times you have to get yourself to stop overthinking. And I think the blog world, you come dangerously close to overthinking. I think that in all other aspects of your life, certainly, you know, interviews and as a performer, you really, you know, you kind of, there's a weightedness to it. And I think the nice thing about Twitter is that there's no pressure. You know, if you write, I'm in a cab going to an interview, that's cool with them. And if you decide that you're in a really strange headspace and something really quirky and strange pops into your head, just put that out there too. And it's, I don't know, in a crazy way, I feel like Twitter's allowed me to kind of put some other sides of myself out there as well. So it's fun. Yeah, it's great.
Who do you follow on Twitter that really amuses you every day?
Wow. Well, there's some. I love Roger Ebert. I think that anybody who doesn't follow Roger Ebert on Twitter is really missing out. He's a brilliant guy, and I think that he's really using Twitter as a way to, like I said, to express himself and to link people to ideas and to his own ideas that maybe it was a little harder for him to do in the past when it was just about the TV show and about, you know, his column and things like that. It's you know, for people who really know how to use it well, like him, it's a way to really expand people's minds and get people out there.
And he just got 100,000 new followers, so you're welcome, Roger Ebert.
Yeah, well, he deserves them. He should be one of the ones with 2 or 3 million for sure. Who else do I like to follow? I follow, you know, friends of mine that I've worked with, you know, Imogen Heap, Alison Sudol from Fine Frenzy. Yeah, I don't know. There's CNN, Billboard, obviously, you know.
Thanks for the plug.
You know, and Hugh Hefner.
And Hugh Hefner.
Well,
there's like
he's not posting
like
pictures of naked ladies.
He's
not like here's somebody nude we shot today. No, he's an intelligent guy, and he's you know, and he's got a lot of very funny things to say.
Right.
I want to go to the mansion.
Have you been to the Playboy Mansion?
I haven't. No, No, I haven't. So Oprah's house, Playboy Mansion, and then I can die a happy man.
Right. It's all going to happen. And we will end this with a question from Kristen MM, who says, so Josh, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
Wow. Well, I mean, I was asked that question probably almost exactly 10 years ago. And I basically said that I would, you know, hopefully like to be in a place where I've continued to do my own thing and make music that I love and expand my horizons and you know, really test the waters of what's out there. And, you know, here I sit talking about all the crazy things that have happened in the last 10 years, and I feel so grateful for that. And I think that as far as having those ideals and having those dreams, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think I've still got plenty of things I'd like to do, and I think if you do them intelligently and take risks, I think the most rewarding aspect of what I've done in the last 10 years has been, you know, trying new things and taking risks, and it doesn't always work. But for the times that it does work, I think it allows you to have those extra 10 years. I think it's when you don't take risks, that's the bigger risk. And I think that when careers shut down, it's because people played it safe too much. So, so I'd like to, you know, keep on keeping on and keep doing great interviews like this one. And hopefully we'll all be talking about it 10 years from now.
Yeah, great. And 10 years from now, we'd like to have you back, and we'll
10
catch up.
10 years from now, you'll be a hologram, and I'll be like, this is so weird.
I'll be like moving right through.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, it's been great to talk to you.
Great
Thank you so
talking to you
much for
too.
your time. I
My
want to thank you
pleasure.
for watching at home. I want to thank Motorola for making this all happen. And tune in next Wednesday. We will be doing a live chat with the Jonas Brothers. Don't want to miss that. So thanks a lot. Oh, and be sure to look for Josh Groban's yet untitled album, which will be coming out at some point in the future. And watch him on...
in the fall. Yes.
In the fall, 2010?
I sure hope so.
And watch him on Glee, watch him in the new Steve Carell movie, and watch him everywhere because he's going to be taking over.
Watch me everywhere.
So thanks for joining us.